In case you've been wondering, my good friends, on how best you can do an installment sale on real estate, within this video, by the time it gets to an end, I would have explained to you how you can do it. I have done multiple installment sale over the years. I've bought blocks of flats, I've bought student accommodation, I've bought flips, I've bought a number of properties using installment sale, and I think it's a method that anybody can be able to utilize. I showcased a deal where I did an installment sale, and one of our listeners, or should I say one of the subscribers on this channel, someone like you, called Spijo Ngwenya, Spijo 512. I don't know, maybe that's the name, code name or something like that. But basically, Spijo Ngwenya asked the question to say, TJ, how do you do an installment sale? Do you do this as an individual or do you do it as a company? That's the shortest question. And the short answer to it is that, well, it depends on where you are in life and what you're trying to achieve. But for some of our viewers who might not know what an installment sale is, in the South African context, what is an installment sale? It dictates, or should I say the law dictates, that an installment sale is when you do have a property, you are the owner, and that property is owned outright. So it's a cash property. And with that, what you're wanting to do, you are wanting to sell it. And you are most welcome to sell it to any willing person who's coming in to put in an offer. And in some cases, you might have a person who come in and say, can I do an installment sale? An installment sale basically means that they're going to pay you slowly as they go along instead of using a bank. Now, there is a contract that you need to fill in. You need to have an attorney to draw up an installment sale for you. There is upside and then there's a downside for an installment sale. But I've done maybe, I don't want to say many, I've done about maybe 13 installment sales over the years that I've been doing real estate. And in all of those deals, I have been able to close all my installment sales, meaning that I've been able to finish my installment sale. I haven't had the downside of the installment not working. But the question that we're wanting to ask here is it good to do an installment sale in your personal capacity or in your business? How should it work? So on that deal that I did showcase earlier on in the videos where Ngwenya went on to look into, he asked that question, and that's why I'm answering this question today. Now that we understand an installment sale, what are the frameworks of this installment sale? It does dictate in our market that an installment sale should not be more than 5 years, and it also stipulates that your payments needs to be more than 3 payments. It also dictates that an installment sale, so there's the payment, there is the duration, the time, but I also want to stress the fact that an installment sale is probably misunderstood by many people. And many, even estate agents out there, some of them, they don't understand it. Because remember, when you're doing an installment sale, generally the estate agent would get their income right at the end, their commission, because the transaction is finished. So I think many estate agents have done away with installment sales over the years, or they just don't talk about it because it doesn't suit them, right? But I have had the privilege to work with estate agents that understand an installment sale, and for that reason we were able to work with them. They were able to close a deal for us, and we were able to go ahead. So I'm going to answer the question, is it better to do it in your personal capacity or in a business? Now, my good friends, if you are buying anything for investment purposes, I'm always being a great advocate for don't do it in your personal name. Because the moment you're going to do it in your personal name and things go wrong, you will be able to tarnish your name, and there's many things that you can't just come back from, bad debt and all of those things, and you're doing it in your name. But if you're doing it in a business, the business has many opportunities in which you can be able to navigate because obviously businesses are designed to borrow more money, more and more. So in the event that you have now gotten yourself an installment sale, which we have said is not limited to 5 years, it's limited to a minimum of three payments, and also for the fact that it has to register. A lot of people always ask me the question, TJ, how do I know that my money is protected? You know, you're buying a building for 1.5 million and now you're giving 500,000 cash, and this person walks away with your money. How do you get protected? You get protected, my friends, by which is also one of the requirements of an installment sale. The framework of the installment sale is that the property needs to be registered both in the seller and the buyer within the conditions of this particular contract that they are talking about, which basically means that if you have been one of those people that are now buying and you are on the wrong side, this contract is the one that's going to get you off the wrong side. Meaning that if you didn't perform, the seller is just going to remove you with his attorney at the deeds office because you didn't perform, you didn't meet the requirements. But obviously they'll reach out to you and say, we need to remedy this situation. But many are people, not many are people, but I've seen in the past that, you know, some people might not engage, and for that reason the seller just goes on to do what he needs to do. So the question was, should we be doing it in your personal name or in the business? And I am answering the question to say, if you are doing this for business purposes, don't do anything in your name, because it's a business. Something might go wrong. It's an investment. Something might go wrong. So how do you get protected? So you can protect your assets even if you're doing an installment sale via a company, right? We're always talking about this here. I think Ngwenya has not been here for a long time, but Ngwenya, this is what we do here. So thank you for asking that question, Ngwenya. I also want to add in a little bit more value to that question, and to say that an installment sale is very good for people that could be in a bad debt, sort of. You are transitioning into a bad debt and you're going into a credit, or you're not credit worthy today, but you have the means to make payments. Actually, installment sales were the real deal of buying properties back in the day. Yeah, it is true. It is true. So before banks and all of these guys came up, installment sale was the thing. You know, my property was selling for 5 rand, and we would do an agreement, buyer to seller, and bingo, we would close it together. But now the banks are here. Many transactions are coming in and they're covered with the bank. So I hope, Ngwenya, I have answered your question. And thanks for watching. And besides watching, thanks for asking the question. We encourage people. Mondays, it's a learning day. And I always want to bring in stuff that you want to hear, stuff you're struggling with. And my job is to bring out that here. But I can only know that if you ask me the question. So in any video you ask a question, I will make an effort to answer it. I might not answer it immediately in a video like this one, but we will answer it and we'll give you a detailed answer to it. But TJ, you asked the question to say, when you ask the question, should I do it in a personal name or in my business? Let's throw in a curveball before I land the plane. Well, the curveball is that, what if you're just buying it for your personal needs, right? Say a house that you are buying, it's not from an investment perspective. Should you still be doing it in a company? Well, my good friends, I'm going to leave that question to you and let me know in the comments what you do think. In my view, it's still the same thing, because I don't want to own anything at all. Why don't I want to own anything at all? From a tax perspective, I do want to move all my assets smoothly in one entities to my heirs. And then secondly, I want to manage everything in entities that I can control rather than I can own. Control is more important than ownership. That's the world that I live in, but it does not necessarily mean it's the alpha world, or it's the only world that is out there. There's many options. This is just the one that we prefer here at the TJ Tribe, and those that are doing business on a serious side. So again, my friends, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video right here at the TJ Tribe. We'll check you out now. Bam bam!